Eastern Illinois on Saturday, and the 7th meeting all time between these two teams, and it's Kassan Prosper who controls the tip for Notre Dame, coming in at 4-1. They are perfect here at the Joyce Center so far this season.
You're going to see Central Michigan, they're going to be in a hard gap defense, trying to keep the ball out of the paint for the Irish.
Hidalgo over to Vanessa DeJesus. And DeJesus, who had 3 triples Friday night, starts it off with a 3 here for Notre Dame.
Yeah, I think that Vanessa DeJesus is going to be key to really open up the offense for the Irish, knocking down those threes.
Well, Rylan Bushell, the freshman point guard, question mark coming into today's game, fighting through an illness. She's getting the start along with Niku Mitchell, who has really done a nice job coming on and emerging as a scorer for the Chippewas.
Well, the Chippewas are playing without Darrington, their center inside. She's out for injury, didn't play in the last game either, and that's going to cause Demetria Pruitt, number 23, to play inside. She's only 5'10".
Cass Prosper with the take all the way. Again, we talked about the defense to offense, and a great example there, 5-0 advantage. Welcome of you joining in from watching Louisville take down Eastern Michigan in the KFC Yum Center here in Purcell Pavilion. It's 19th ranked Notre Dame taking on Central Michigan. Carolyn Peck, Tiffany Green here with you. And a quick start for Notre Dame. They scored the first 5 points. And we talked so much about their defensive intensity. We've already seen it on display here as Hannah Hidalgo, leading scorer in the nation, over to DeJesus, off the mark, chasing for the rebound. A number of players, and Maddie Morrison, the MAC Freshman of the Year from a season ago, has the ball. And taking a look at the Chippewas starting lineup, Taylor Anderson, Niku Mitchell, and Demetria Pruitt.
All 5 players can play any 5 positions on the floor, and that versatility can be a matchup nightmare for their opponents.
Zaria Chevry checking in quickly for the Chippewas as they are set to inbound it underneath the basket. Morrison showed pump fake, driving baseline, and getting a hand on it was KK Bransford.
Man, Morrison came on the scene last season, a freshman that really didn't play travel ball the season before, so not a lot of teams knew about her. So Kristen Haney really felt like that was a steal, getting her in her freshman season, and she was a major impact factor in the MAC.
Well, taking a look at the Notre Dame starting lineup, you've got Hidalgo, DeJesus going back and forth, handing it back and forth to each other. Gisela Sanchez, KK Bransford, and Cass Prosper round out the starting 5. Prosper with a good look from 3, off the mark, giving chase, but goes out of bounds, and it's going to be Central Michigan basketball.
I'm going to keep track. We're trying to, how many times can Notre Dame get their feet in the paint with the basketball or get the ball passed into the paint, because that gap for Central Michigan, that's going to make that really tough. They're going to try to force Notre Dame into taking 3-point shots.
The handles of Morrison holding on to it as the larger Prosper in front of her, but kissing it off the backboard, and just a tough 2 there from Maddie Morrison.
Asked Kristen Haney what made Morrison so special, and she said, look, at times I get on the floor and try to defend her, running drills, and she'll make a move, and Haney said, like, I can't even defend that. She just is so creative with the basketball.
Morrison coming off a 17-point game Saturday, leads the team with better than 18 points. It's Anderson who puts it up. No, DeJesus comes up with the rebound, and back the other way as Notre Dame pushing. Hidalgo, as we mentioned, the nation's leading scorer and steals leader in all of NCAA. And Sanchez launches it from 3, it won't go.
That's an area, Notre Dame shooting, what, about 26.7% from the 3-point line so far this season.
That was an area where they excelled last year, Carolyn, but obviously a lot of new faces. As taking it baseline was KK Bransford. Bransford, who was so critical and pivotal in that fourth quarter Friday in that win over USC.
Well, Bransford really has benefited taking last season off to build some confidence, get healthy, build her toolbox for the offense. But one of the things that both Niele Ivey and Hannah Hidalgo talked about is her basketball IQ and how she reads things in situations.
She saw and led to Jesus, and it's going to go back over to Central Michigan, but that last make from Bransford.
The strength, too, handling the basketball, seeing that she's got a lane, the skill of driving with that left hand and getting the finish. I thought that was a terrific decision to attack the basket.
The health and confidence very important because she's called on to do more, as stolen away by Hannah Hidalgo. We mentioned best in the country in steals, averaging 6 a game. That's her first theft of the night.
That's the luxury of having a player like Hannah Hidalgo. If your offense is stalled, you can get buckets from your defense because she can just go take it when she wants it.
A 9-4 advantage here from South Bend.
Leah Coles, number 5 in white, is in for Notre Dame. Look how Hannah Hidalgo is just a nightmare on the basketball.
Handles by Anderson, and tough take to the basket, the hoop and the arm for Taylor Anderson.
With the ball handling, just splits the defense and attacks with strength to get the finish.
We mentioned Coles in the paint. She picks up a personal foul, and so Anderson will try to complete the three-point play. Leaves it short. Coles comes up with the board.
To close out that game against USC, Coles was on the floor. Niele Ivey had a lot of confidence in having Coles inside because she's smart and a big body in the paint.
Iyana Moore, who just checked into the ball game, off the mark from long range. And a number of newcomers on this team for Central Michigan, 5 in total. You see Turnbull, who was running the point, and working here as Mitchell. Had it stolen away again. 4th turnover now for the Chippewas. And the transition 3 pull-up won't fall for Hidalgo.
Oh, just didn't get the bounce. Now Hannah Hidalgo shot over 40% from 3 last season. She's really trying to see that rhythm come back.
That one bounces in for the Chippewas, and they are within 1. Moore, who transferred over from Vanderbilt, looking to lift this team as the season progresses for Niele Ivey.
You talk about a player that's a bucket. Number 23 in white, Iyana Moore. In her freshman year, she hit 72 threes. She got hurt her sophomore season, over 60 in her junior year, and over 50 last season as a senior.
And they're going to need that type of production. Sonia Citron gone on to the WNBA. Olivia Miles transferring out. And so when you think about the sharp shooting of Notre Dame last year, how about Niku Mitchell with some sharp shooting here tonight? Drains her first 3.
Mitchell coming into this game had only made 4 on the season.
Coles corrals that rebound, the putback and in. So Notre Dame grabbing the lead back. And when we talked to Niele Ivey, she just mentioned how this was a completely new team that she saw Friday as compared to a few days before against Michigan, and suffering their worst loss under Niele Ivey, but with the response we saw from Notre Dame, and here they're with a 2-point.
Against USC. A lot of that had to do with getting on the offensive glass and keeping the Trojans off the gas. Only allowed them 4 offensive rebounds, and then I think better shot selection, because against Michigan, yeah, your eyes didn't play tricks on you. They only shot 9% from the 3-point line, and this is a team that has been known to have a better field goal percentage from beyond the 3-point line, but everything was about the energy on the defensive end.
Yeah, and I love what she said. Hey, look, this is what we did when we came back to practice, that toughness that we talked about, as Hidalgo even chimed in after she has the make there, but she chimed in and said, look, we were just embarrassed after that loss, and she took it upon herself to make sure that she brought the best out of her teammates as well as showing up as well.
You know, I heard that this summer from Asia Wilson when the Las Vegas Aces got beat by Minnesota. You saw they turned things around. Well, Hannah Hidalgo had that same look of, listen, if you're not embarrassed on by what you saw and how you performed in that Michigan game, you might be in the wrong locker room.
Maddie Morrison, take a look here because this was an excellent move.
Ooh, and with the left hand.
The finish there. And can't complete the three-point play. Morrison, who has 4 points tonight.
And for Notre Dame, I like having Vanessa De Jesus to run the point, allowing Hannah Hidalgo to pay off the ball.
And going back to what they saw again against Michigan, a lot of teams are going to try to throw a lot of different defenses and pressure towards Hannah's way, and being able to have the comfort of De Jesus, who's going to take a breather, only helps free things up for Hidalgo.
Well, you know Hidalgo's at the top of everybody's scouting report, and so there's going to be a swarm. In ball screens, they're either going to trap it or they're going to hard hedge and try to take away her vision. So it's not just what Hannah does, but what the other 4 players around her, how they position themselves to give her those escape passes.
A 2-point advantage under 3 minutes to go in the first quarter. Hidalgo off the screen, can't get it to fall. The Chippewas back the other way, shooting 67% from the floor in this first quarter. Morrison for 3, leaves it short. Well, this is the year that Neil Ivey, who is getting to know a lot of new faces and trying to create that greater chemistry amongst her team. And if they got to look at some of the secondary scores, they're going to help complement Hidalgo.
Well, I love the versatility of Prosper and KK Bransford, but then having that, where you're talking about Vanessa De Jesus, to be in that scoring, another scoring point guard can definitely help. But when you look at this Notre Dame roster, they got 4 players that average in double figures, but they also have 4 players that play over 30 minutes a game. What kind of contribution are they going to get from their reserves? And I think Iyana Moore has to play a big part.
4 steals on the night for Notre Dame. They bring it back the other way, trying to get more points off of turnovers. And you talked about the long-range threat. That Iyana Moore is a great example right there.
Iyana Moore is a bucket.
Better than 200 career threes for the 5th-year senior out of Milwaukee.
And last season with Vanderbilt, she shot 34.4, made 65 threes.
Rims off for Mitchell. Prosper coming up with it.
I'd run it again. More off that ball screen. Why not? Oh. Yeah, they got Sanchez with a moving screen. She's got to stay set until the ball handler comes off. If you just get set, stand there. See, she started to roll there.
Here's Pruitt. No, Sanchez collects the rebound. Goes through a couple of Chippewas defenders, and Iyana Moore holds on to it. De Jesus at the screen looking, snaps it over. Moore thought about it, got to get a shot up. 6 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Prosper from the elbow. Rims off.
Prosper had an opportunity to come off that. She could have gone back to Moore in the corner.
Final shot of the first quarter, and it's good. The make from Niku Mitchell. In a 5.
And she's so calm and really methodical about how she wants her team to play. She has a strategy coming in here. Let me tell you, Kristen Haiti was always one of my favorite players. In 2005, when Michigan State was making their run, I loved the energy, the fierceness that she would play with, diving on the floor. She was tough.
Led the Spartans to their first Final Four appearance, and it was a tightly contested ball game through the first quarter. You see just 5 points separating the two. It's Notre Dame who, again, their defensive pressure continues to hound teams. 4 steals in that first quarter, 9 points off of turnovers, and trying to create another one here.
Well, then Notre Dame, too, even though Central Michigan was in that gap defense, they were still determined, because I asked Neil Ivey, if your threes aren't falling, what do I need to look for that you're going to go to? And she said the ball still has to find the paint, even if they play inside out, but you got to get a bite of the paint.
And time winding down on the shot clock. Tough there. Prosper with excellent defense with the block. Deflection back the other way. She brings it up to Jesus, who's right there to collect, and 2. That was great execution by the Fighting Irish.
I think, too, defensively, the length of Prosper, Sanchez, KK Bransford have really clogged things up on Central Michigan, but they found it from 3.
Anderson knocking down that 3 ball, 34% from the floor. That's an area of concern in terms of 3-point field goal defense, is that teams are outpacing Notre Dame from long distance compared to what they do on the offensive end.
In those 5 games, Notre Dame made 27 threes, their opponents 28, but their opponents are shooting 34, almost 35%.
That one rolls in for Sanchez, 5th-year Spaniard for Notre Dame, coming over from Kansas State.
Notre Dame sitting in this zone, too. Really challenging the Chippewas to knock down the 3.
Bransford, the versatility that you see from KK Bransford, the 5'11" guard. She's got the versatility to play inside and handle the ball as well. Sanchez in and out. Sheffrey back over to Anderson. Anderson being hounded by Hidalgo, who comes up with the steal. Clear coast for Hidalgo, who scoops it in. 5 steals now for the Fighting Irish, largest lead of the game, as Hidalgo now with 8 points.
When you watch Hannah Hidalgo's eyes, and if she's anywhere close to getting the basketball and really wants to take it, she will.
She is just the type of player that brings an electricity to the game. So fun to watch, and as we said before, so contagious for her teammates as well.
Watch Hidalgo. I mean, just she moves her feet first to the right, then to the left. As soon as she makes the ball handler change direction, she anticipates, eats it up, and heads the other direction.
Carolyn, what did she tell us earlier today about what she wanted to invoke into the offensive play?
She said, I want to put fear on the mind of the offensive player. And there was no hesitation. She said that with her full chest.
One of the nation's most dynamic players, among the best in the country, coming off an ACC Player of the Year season ago, and 2-time ACC Defensive Player of the Year.
What I loved about talking to Hannah about her defense is she believes in it. Like, she takes such great pride in her defense, and like, she knows that's her calling card. She is all about, look, she about took it again, the defense.
And the balance there too, because she is the leading scorer for her team. She runs the point primarily, but then also she is the anchor or the spearhead of this defense.
Well, and Vanessa De Jesus told us, as aggressive and the energy that Hannah brings, it makes her play more aggressive. She said somebody, she didn't read on the stat sheet, she said, somebody told me I'm getting multiple skills a game. I said, honey, it's on the stat sheet, you are.
Jada Mosley checks into the game. Maddie Morrison with it against the bigger defender. And off the mark, Hidalgo keeps the dribble alive. as she's hampered by Mitchell. Wide open three for Bransford. And Morrison dumps it inside. Great look. Just didn't know what to do with it. And a turnover. Traveling violation going against Mitchell. 8th turnover of the game for Kristen Haney's group. And how important, too, is it for Notre Dame to come in here and not have a letdown kind of game after just that big emotional win Friday night over USC?
Well, it would totally, if you don't come in and play with great intensity, totally really erase what you did against USC, because after being beat by nearly 40 by Michigan, you bounce back, you have that winner against USC. Now you want to demonstrate not just to your coach, not to your fans, but to yourself that you've turned that corner, you've learned, and you're going to bring the intensity every time you step on this floor.
In the corner, Moore looking for a second triple, and it goes. The fortuitous bounce for Iyana Moore.
I'm telling you, watch out for number 23 in white for the Irish. And she played next to Michaela Blake's last season, so she gets an opportunity to score it. Moore can put it down.
Coles helped poke it away, and the speed, just another gear for Hannah Hidalgo when she gets out in the open. Timeout.
Just always aware. Tim, have you ever heard the saying, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready? Well, Hannah Hidalgo stays ready on the defensive end all the time. Whenever there's a deflection, whenever there is a loose basketball, you can count on number 3 in white to gobble that up and head the other direction.
4 steals so far tonight, and she is season.
She may move there before the first of the year. That's a tall task, but she gives a lot of compliments to Skylar Diggins and the alum before her that set the tone and the standard, and she wants to live up to that, and she really appreciates. Skylar Diggins comes to practice a lot, and when she sees things at practice, angles or little tidbits that can help Hannah be a better player, she'll pull both she and Vanessa to the side and give some advice. And you know, Hannah really likes the leadership. She really talks to Skylar about how to approach the team, about things, and help this team get to where they want to be.
Nice move and spin around for Coles, but going back to Diggins, I mean, you think about the great mentor that she is to Hidalgo and several other players, just her presence here. But you've got a WNBA veteran in the building, one of the best to don a uniform for Notre Dame, coming back and sharing that insight, so you help maintain that standard as you were talking about, Carolyn.
Well, and how to stay focused in, you may not get the accolades you want, you may not have the immediate success, but you continue to work hard to raise your game to another level.
It's great to see that and aspire to that. So far tonight, Hidalgo in double digits, the lone scorer in double figures, as that one just dropped in by Prosper. KK Prosper, Hannah Hidalgo, or excuse me, Kaz Prosper, KK Bransford, and Hannah Hidalgo.
There you go.
Core.
What time is it?
Yeah, it is. It was a late tipper. We had talked about that.
Oh, but it's worth it. Yeah.
Worth the wait, it's for sure. Taylor Johnson with a nice move inside in the bucket, snaps a 13-0 run for Notre Dame.
Ooh, Hannah just needs to see one go down. We watched her come out and shoot around earlier this afternoon. She puts in the work, but she said in games, she's got to get her mind to slow down because she plays so hard and so fast. She's got to get that rhythm down.
Well, the 3rd annual ACC-SEC Women's Basketball Challenge begins next week.
I'm looking forward to that matchup.
For
you
sure.
Have Hannah Hidalgo. You've got Sierra Chinu, the sophomore at Ole Miss. So Ole Miss now has Cody McMahon transfer from Ohio State. And Christina Walla, the transfer from UCLA, has really been holding it down for the Ole Miss Rebels in the paint.
Fantastic week up ahead. Remember, these two teams met last year. The Irish beat Ole Miss in the 2nd round here at the Joyce Center in the NCAA tournament. Niku Mitchell, the senior out of Baltimore, who's just another added offensive weapon for the Chippewas. Came over from George Mason after being coached by Vanessa Blair Lewis. DeJesus surveying, looking inside, trying to get it to Prosper. Bransford looking inside as well. DeJesus launching it from 3, won't go. Anderson comes up with the rebound.
And to hold Notre Dame to 35 points, pretty good defensively for the Chippewas. They've just got to find ways to manufacture points. The length of the Irish has been a problem, but Maddie Morrison finds 2.
Well, that's how you chip away at the lead, and you put it in the hand of your best ball player, and Maddie Morrison. And how about a jump ball there from Mitchell? So good defensive effort on the other end.
I see what you did with that chip away, but Maddie Morrison just attacking. And one of the things that Central Michigan, they run a lot of Princeton-style offense, and what they've got to do is they've got to spread the floor a little bit more and be more patient offensively. When they keep spacing, they give themselves driving lanes.
Shepard working on Hidalgo. Tough shot in the lane, won't go. Sanchez gets a hand on it. Prosper bring it across half court. Iyana Moore in the corner for 3, no. Morrison thought about it instead. Over to Mitchell. Morrison and Mitchell each have 6 apiece.
See, there's a little bit of hesitation for Central Michigan. They catch it and try to figure out instead of having a plan once they catch the ball.
Hard take to the basket, and Anderson fearless on the way up. She's fouled, and will go to the line and shoot 2. So Prosper picks up the personal foul. That's her second. And 1:43 remaining in the first half. Notre Dame, who's used to getting to the free throw line quite a bit this season, one of the best in the nation, has yet to go to the free throw line tonight. It's been the Chippewas. Well, what a top 10 women's volleyball matchup we have for you Wednesday night on the ACC Network and the all-new ESPN app. Number 4, Pitt host 7th-ranked Louisville at the Peterson Events Center. The Panthers have beaten the Cardinals 5 of the last 6 meetings. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern.
You know, one of the things that, even when I coached against Notre Dame, talk about getting to the free throw line, was that Muffet McGraw, her teams normally made more free throws than the other team attended. Notre Dame has not been known to traditionally be one that fouls a whole lot, but they can get to the free throw line.
Another foul committed by the Fighting Irish. This one going against Hidalgo. That's her second. So Morrison, the Chippewas, back to the free throw line. Chips 3 of 6 from the charity stripe so far tonight. And off the mark, Morrison, who is typically an 83% free throw shooter.
She'd only missed 4 all season, 20 of 24 from the line.
Gets that one to fall. So again, squeezing the lead down to just 10 as the Chippewas on an 8-0 run. Hidalgo is trying to change that and count it. She does. So snaps the run there. And Hannah Hidalgo will go to the line.
What a good decision by Hannah to look at attacking the basket. You know, instead of just standing around the perimeter trying to make that three-point shot fall, play to your strengths. Use that quickness.
Hidalgo, who had her first game winner of her career. And we talked about the three-point shooting, the drop-off that we've seen from last year to the start of this season.
Well, you get a little more time to shoot the ball when you're on the floor with Sonia Citron.
She was an outstanding three-point shooter, helped Notre Dame be #1 in field goal percentage a season ago with record makes for the program. And DeJesus coming up with the steal, going coast to coast, and the finish as Taylor Anderson, who took a shot there, slow to get up. And a stoppage in play momentarily for Anderson to go to the bench and get attention. So Taylor Anderson, the senior out of South Lyon, Michigan. Another look at it here.
Oh, see, it looks like DeJesus' arm, elbow caught her across the face.
And so she's at the end of the bench. And the athletic training staff is giving her the attention that she needs. Meanwhile, action resumes as Notre Dame, who has now scored 20 points off of turnovers tonight.
We're trying to run a horn set against this zone. You've got to get the ball swung from one side to the other. You just got, when you're trying to get it all done on one side, you never make the defense have to shift.
Falling away from the bucket was Bransford, off the mark, so 8 steals, couldn't capitalize here. And final shot of the first half, Morrison moves around the screen and drains the deep three to end the first half.
They still haven't really seen the 3-ball fall. Notre Dame is 3 of 12 right now from three-point land.
Hidalgo over to Prosper, back to Hidalgo, looking inside to Sanchez. That one got a hand on by Pruitt. And Bransford with the take, no. Snatched down by Anderson.
Yeah, Anderson looks like she's got a mouth guard into that second quarter. She took a blow to the face, but good to see number 24 back on the floor.
Who's going to be the complimentary scorer? Anderson had 7 points in that first half. Mitchell added 6. And with under 10 to go on the shot clock here, Central Michigan will run their out-of-bounds play. Remember, this is a team out of Mount Pleasant, Michigan, coming in on a 4-game winning streak.
Well, they're playing without Iyana Darrington, their post player inside. She's out because of injury, so really don't have an inside post presence except for Pruitt. You know, Pruitt's coming off 17 points against Eastern Illinois, and she was going against players that were 6'4" and 6'10".
Doesn't back down, and neither does KK Bransford with the baseline jumper. But you love that. I mean, you think about Pruitt standing at 5'10", not backing down, and really getting good looks driving to the lane. We've seen the Chippewas tonight.
Yeah, the opportunities when they've come, you know, there's no fear. They're very aggressive. The problem has been just taking care of the basketball, because good defensive play by the Irish, and they're heading the other direction.
Hidalgo pops out. Well, that's the challenge for any team that faces Notre Dame. We came on talking about Notre Dame and how outstanding their defense has been so far this season. Prosper. Sanchez, 3, yes. Gisela Sanchez knocks down the triple. What do you like about her game?
Well, she's 6'3" and can shoot the 3. She shoots about 42% from the 3-point line. She gets it lined up, and you can bank on it. I think Central Michigan, they're so focused on getting close to the basket that they're not looking for those perimeter shots.
Back over to Anderson. Good help defense, and again stripped away by Hidalgo, who had 4 steals in the first half. Add another here, and just too strong and leading Prosper.
Gisela Sanchez, I talked about being 6'3", you got the option. She can pick and roll or pick and pop, and she get her feet set behind the three-point line. She is dangerous.
Well, this group coming off an ACC regular season championship a year ago, a lot of new faces added to this core group of Hidalgo, Prosper, and Bransford. But when we talked to Nia Ivy, she mentioned just about how while she's still learning the team and they're still growing, Prosper helps to anchor that locker room because she says that culture is solid.
Well, as much as Niel's trying to learn this team, the players are trying to learn each other. You've got Coles, who came in from Wake Forest, DeJesus in from Duke.
Coles, you mentioned right there with the block out in transition. And oh, the nifty move, and it rolls in for Hidalgo. Well, that's where they've done so much damage in transition. A 10-0 run for Notre Dame.
Hannah Hidalgo, we talked about her superpower. It's her quickness. You just watch how quickly she gets from one end of the other. She tricked me. I thought she was going behind the back, but she finished it herself. One team that's standing out, like there's separation. It's going to be competition night in and night out.
We had a 16th ranked NC State team upset Sunday against Rhode Island.
Rhode Island got them. Yeah.
We were talking to both teams, and each of the players from both Notre Dame and Central Michigan well aware for the Fighting Irish can't let down or take anyone for granted. And if you're Central Michigan, well, you've got a whole lot of hope and belief that you can pull off an upset yourself.
Well, just from Sunday alone, Kristen Haney, who was talking about, look, you got Rhode Island knocked off NC State, James Madison knocked off Virginia Tech. Yeah, barely
there survived. There we go. I can't even get it out. The Bears barely survived Davidson in overtime.
So, you know, this is where you learn a lot about your team, and you can't just say, well, because you're in this conference or that conference, it's a done deal. These women have come out to compete. I think with the NIL, there's been a lot of movement. There's strength on some programs and teams you haven't seen yet. I think this is going to be a fun season in women's college basketball.
Everyone chasing the reigning champion UConn Huskies, won their 12th national title back in April, and they look really good. Easy Foot, Sarah Strong have been great, and so has Maddie Morrison. And you talked about this earlier, Carolyn, just about how a player like Maddie Morrison goes to a mid-major like Central Michigan in the state. She was known somewhat, but maybe overlooked by some of the Power 4 programs.
Well, and this is a player, after being freshman of the year in the MAC, you know, those are the players that are usually getting plucked to the Power 4. But this is a player, she has some interest in going into mechanical engineering, you know, unsure of the possibility of carrying that load in basketball, but she is a self-proclaimed nerd. She travels with a Rubik's Cube, and it's not a square cube.
Right.
I don't know what.
It's like a prism? Do you call it like
a hexagon? It's got several different sides that she solves. And then she also has a book of logic puzzles. She travels on basketball trips with this, ladies and gentlemen. So she's always working her mind of how to figure some things out.
She said her grandfathers were engineers, along with her father, who was in the Air Force, who worked on planes. Just a very interesting young woman as she's fouled on the shot. Well, back here, that last play, Hannah Hidalgo going for the ball on that shot from Morrison. And Hidalgo picks up her third personal foul. And Carolyn, I want you to put your coaching hat on again and just tell us, how do you coach this up? She's got 3 fouls. What do you do if you're Nia Ivy? Do you like the decision that she stays on the floor?
I like that because Hannah Hidalgo is a junior. And so now you put her in the situation to where she has to demonstrate the discipline of understanding the value that she has to be on the floor. So she may have to keep her hands in her pockets or keep her hands to herself, or unless it's just an obvious steal or takeaway, you got to let those things go, because Hannah Hidalgo has to be on the floor for the Irish.
Still very much a sizable lead for the Irish.
And she walks out with her hands behind her back like, okay, I'm going to behave while I'm out here.
Well, again, you talked about just the poise you saw and the fire in her eyes. That one zipped over to De Jesus.
Oh, wait, that's too many steps.
Indeed it was. And Meadow Overstreet calls Coles for the traveling violation. But you saw something different in her eyes, and what you witnessed from Hidalgo.
When I was here Friday for the game against USC, and I was sitting behind Notre Dame's bench, and even when USC would make runs and the Irish would call a timeout, watching Hannah come to the bench and connect with each one of the players in what she needed to do in turning up the defense, whether it be moving the basketball, but the constructive communication she had with her team was impressive.
De Jesus now at what her season average is of steals per game at 2. She got a couple there, and Hidalgo was the benefactor on the other end. That one tipped by Hidalgo into the hands of the Irish. The step through and an offensive foul against Moore.
But the activity, De Jesus now acting like a little bit of Hannah Hidalgo, starting the break, causing the change of possession, allowing the Irish to get out running.
Yeah, what'd you say? De Jesus, who averages 3 steals a game, talked about just the contagious energy that Hidalgo brings to the court.
Yeah, they're a good 1-2 punch in the backcourt for the Irish. They feed off each other. They see where they can complement each other. And De Jesus is a calming factor to run the point and allow Hannah to play off the ball.
Very capable ball handler, coming over as a grad transfer from Duke. Well off the mark from 3 there from De Jesus. We talked about Niele Ivey and the way that she is really like the way her team has come in and focused over the last 8 days or so. Really locked in. And Hidalgo with a nice feed in to Coles, can't finish it off. Blew it back the other way, and too strong to Johnson. And another turnover for the Chippewas.
You see Coach Haney just encouraging Pruitt. She had the right idea, just to put a little too much sauce on that pass. But I like how Coach Haney, she talks with her team. They listen. She's not loud in practice. And I've done, coaches that don't do a lot of yelling, they have their team locked in, because if you miss what they were saying because you weren't paying attention,
it'll pass you by.
It will. You'll miss out.
Prosper shoots fake and through.
That's KK Bransford. You got it. You got it.
Apologies to the Prosper and Bransford fans.
That's right.
For the switch-ups tonight. Inside, deflected. Moore. And they slow it down in the half court. Approaching 2 minutes in the third. Here's our rivalry week, ACC Network.
In the triangle.
Yeah.
In North Carolina.
Well, you know what? You've been quite busy here in South Bend, though. Like, you were here for Friday night's game against USC. Then you witnessed the shellacking of Notre Dame football, wiping out Syracuse. And then you're back here tonight for the game.
It has been a great education on Notre Dame athletics. I think great seats in the house for the Notre Dame USC game. I thought it was a well-coached game. There was strategy back and forth. Both teams were making their runs, and it was just a matter of who was going to make the last one, and it happened to be Notre Dame.
Prosper up ahead, who came up with a critical play at the end of the game as USC was trying to potentially tie or answer back, and Prosper had an outstanding straight up on the inbound.
Yeah, didn't break the barrier of the inline, and Jazzy Davidson was open for USC, so if that pass had been connected, that game could have been a different outcome. And tonight, Iyana Moore looks more settled in. She's only played, this is her 4th game playing on the season. She was injured to start the season, and so she's shaking a little rust off, but there's no rust for Sanchez.
Sanchez, her 2nd triple of the night.
A little big 1-3-1 zone coming from Notre Dame.
Anderson trying to figure out where to go. 2 players converge, pops out. And Notre Dame can slowly walk it up the court and take their time for the final shot of the quarter. So far, the Fighting Irish have outscored Central Michigan 19-9 since coming out of the locker room.
That's like 3 moving screens that Notre Dame has been called for. You've got to stay like set on that screen, set on your stance. That time and distance, you got to give the defense time and distance. Can't move, impede their progress.
So 3 personals on Prosper. De Jesus back in. And Turnbull. Over in the corner, the 3 is good, and it falls. Riley Smith, and we have seen that 3 consecutive quarters from the Chippewas at the end of each quarter.
At the end of the first, the Chippewas hit the
Fans enjoying the rest of the game.
Let me tell you, I coach here in the state of Indiana. They grow them young and teach them basketball at an early age here in the state of Indiana.
I wish we had the audio up so they could hear you commentating just the sets that they were running. You were like, hey, are they gonna go to the left side? A little give and go. Let's, you know, spring out a little action with the foot. That one's blocked by Coles, recovered by the Chippewas. 5 to go on the shot clock. Gotta put something up. Stepped in front, and Coles steals it away. Out on the break. Hidalgo to Prosper. Yes. Well, we know that Notre Dame averages better than 23 points in the fast break category every game. And they are closing in on that mark with 20 here tonight.
Cass Prosper has had, it's not been highlighted action, but key action. She's been running the floor in transition. She's got 5 rebounds on the night, 4 of 7 from the floor, and 3 assists. Just kind of a silent but impactful way about her during this game.
Hidalgo with her 56 20-point game with that make. She's got 21 tonight. And Notre Dame, who has shot the ball above 50% the entire game, at 55%, and high percentage shots like that right there from KK Bransford. So she's now in double figures.
You see Notre Dame, as the game has gone on, getting more confidence on the defensive side, continuing to get stops, and then they are off and running.
I love how she skied for that rebound, and then, oh, the little teardrop in at the end for Hidalgo.
In order to get to deflection for the clock to start. But what I'm so impressed with in Prosper is this season, she's up to scoring from 5.8 points a game last year to 16.8 this year, and shooting 54% from the floor. Very efficient.
That one stolen away to Jesus. Picks up the dribble, finds Prosper coming through, and the efficiency right there, an easy bucket. She's one of 2 ACC players averaging 15 or better points and that 54% from the field, as you mentioned. The pace hasn't slowed down. 7th assist of the night for Hannah Hidalgo to go with her season average of 6 steals. And closing in on the scoring average as well.
That was a big growth from the Michigan game to USC. Yeah. Michigan game, Hannah Hidalgo had 7 turnovers. USC only 1. So tonight, she's distributing the basketball and connecting with her teammates. Uh-oh.
And Taylor Anderson pokes it from the high and gets the ball back for the Chippewas. Saw cutting Chevry, who kicks it out. Mosley, Jada Mosley for 3. And the first points of the quarter for Central Michigan.
Yeah, Jada Mosley's been quiet. This is a player that shoots 44% from the floor. A 3-point shooter. She just hadn't got much opportunity against this Irish defense.
Bransford looking inside to Coles. Kicks it in the corner. Prosper for 3. No.
Prosper's yet to connect to the 3-point line this season. 0 for 5 from the 3-point line.
The pull-up from Morrison is short. And again, when you look at Notre Dame, we talked about their 3-point field goal percentage this season off the mark for Hidalgo, but 2nd and 3rd chance opportunities for the Fighting Irish, and Bransford gets it in.
I love the bounce from KK Bransford. She just stays after the energy and effort that she brings.
Hidalgo with another rebound, now her 4th of the night. Working on 3 defenders, a wide open to Jesus, can't knock it down. Behind the back from Anderson, a tough shot. And she's got 2 shots upcoming.
It'll be interesting this last 5.5 minutes. Will the intensity keep up for Notre Dame?
Well, they have stayed at a steady pace this entire game. They've got 18 steals tonight, forcing 24 turnovers. 30 of their 73 points have come by way of that. Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, the ACC Huddle crew will be back in Charlottesville at O-Hill, University of Virginia, to get you ready for the 106th Commonwealth Clash and the final Saturday of the regular season with a 2-hour pregame show right here on the ACC Network and the all-new ESPN app.
Okay, what kind of hat was that the guy in the audience had on? We want to. Okay, what is that? It's a turkey.
Ahead of Thanksgiving. Yeah, so he's getting ready.
Wow.
It was gobbling up his head, like it was just like swallowing.
That's awesome.
You should try that on for size. He said, I got to adjust it real quick, make sure it's right. See? Okay.
He's ready to whip off a wing or leg and start eating it.
Fried turkey or baked?
Roasted.
Roasted.
Yes. Okay. By somebody else.
Okay, just how do you like your turkey? I'm just making sure we get that.
I like it when it's cooked by somebody else. My brother does a pretty good turkey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mitchell got to get a shot up and is bailed out with a foul with 1.9 seconds remaining on the shot clock.
But again, you got to remember Central Michigan playing without their starting center.
Iyana Sarai Darrington, who's been out for the last now 2 games with an injury. This group who selected 5th in the preseason knew that this would be a challenge. They're gonna come back to the state of Indiana after Thanksgiving, or rather host
they'll
Purdue.
host Purdue, but then they got to go to Michigan
Yeah.
and to Kentucky. And Notre Dame, their next 2 games are against Ole Miss, and then they've got to go to Tallahassee to play Florida State.
Always a tough crew. Brooke Wyckoff leading the way. Ball lost. And I don't know that Hannah Hidalgo has slowed down since the start of the game.
No, ma'am.
I mean, she has been in 6th gear the entire night.
Well, she told us that Michigan game, she was embarrassed. She said that she was going to hold her teammates accountable. They would not step back on the floor like that ever again.
And when we saw her working out earlier today with Sherelle Allen, one of the assistants earlier, you know, she talked about the preparation for Hannah Hidalgo is always there. I mean, she maxes it out, and the mentality that she brings, she says, I couldn't ask for anything more from her.
Well, Hannah coming out, but remember her freshman year, and you really thought of her, you know, coming out of high school to college as a kid. Sitting down talking to her today as a junior, that's a grown woman. She knows what direction she wants to go in and knows what it's going to take to get there.
I was going to say, cue the Beyonce music for grown woman as Hidalgo goes to the bench with 25 points on 12 of 19 shooting, and she was outstanding here tonight. 7 assists, 5 rebounds to go along with 7 steals.
On the efficiency, too, for Notre Dame. 22 of 28 on their layups. When they got in the paint, they finished.
Moore thought about it, pulls it down. Sanchez flares back, swings over. The pull-up baseline, Jay, is true.
I think that Sanchez and Moore are going to be able to contribute more offensively as the season goes on, and they learn how to play off each other's strengths.
10 points tonight for Sanchez, and that's, I think, one of the question marks is how deep will Niele Ivey go into her bench as they head into conference play.
You know, I think she can get away with going with 7 as long as she doesn't get into any foul trouble or stay healthy. Cannot afford an injury of the 7 that she likes to use. With Sanchez at 6'3", got that mid-range. Remember, she's a threat from the 3-point line, so you put her on one side, and Iyana Moore, the shooting you can get from Vanessa DeJesus and the speed and quickness from Hannah Hidalgo, that's a recipe to do some good things. You know, I threw recipe because we're getting close to Thanksgiving. Yeah. Come on now.
The question is, what is your best recipe?
Well, I think you have a pretty good rotation, especially with the threat of Hannah Hidalgo and KK Bransford. Yeah, the question mark is, and you also have the core with Cass Prosper. So now, how do the newbies all fit around? And they're learning each other. And I think by the end of December, I think they'll understand exactly what that recipe is.
Of course, Niele Ivey would certainly listen to the national championship winning head coach.
Well, listen, she's got Muffet McGraw to listen to.
Yeah, she does.
Won
she does.
2 national championships herself. Niele's got this under control, and she understands it's a process. You don't want to be perfect in November. You know, you want to start building in December, come February, start to peak, heading to the right direction in March.
Here's what I like what she told us about her team, as this is a process still of getting to know. She says everyone has come in with a chip on their shoulder this season. And so you know the type of work and effort that you're going to get out of your group day in and day out.
Sanchez came out of Kansas State, didn't play a lot.
Iyana Moore, who did play a lot at Vanderbilt, and expect to see her do that a lot more in a Fighting Irish uniform this season.
I'm telling y'all, she's 4 of 7 tonight from the three-point line. She get her game rhythm back. She's going to be a force in the ACC, especially from beyond the three-point line.
That one sails off the hand of Mosley. Well, in the areas where Notre Dame was able to take advantage in terms of points in the paint, we talked about that at the half, 48-16, well in favor of their defensive pressure and prowess. Certainly gave Central Michigan problems all night long. And then they shot the ball very well, 54% from the floor.
And I like the shots that they've taken as well.
Nice dish from Turnbull into Pruitt. And that's going to snap Central Michigan's 4-game winning streak with a resounding win for 19th ranked Notre Dame, 83-51, as they remain perfect here at Purcell Pavilion.
You want to have a statement